This next one is for, well, actually, no, this is also for the buyers. I love this one. So someday, I don't know when, it's going to become a buyer's market again. Yeah. But
Yeah.
right now, it's a seller's market, and it's been a seller's market for the last 10 years. And I think it's going to be a seller's market for a while longer. Yeah. So the buyer's coming in, and you're not even sure if you're going to get any credits from the sellers, even if you do find something wrong. Right. But this little trick will give you a better chance of it than if you don't do it. Okay. So, home inspection day is actually a really stressful day for the sellers. You think it isn't, but it is. So, because you are coming in with a phalanx of professionals to put their home under a microscope,
Exactly.
right? And even if they have no intention of fixing a gosh darn thing, their pride is at stake. This is their home and you're tearing it apart. Plus, this is their family's sacred space and you're invading it. You're
Absolutely.
strangers. You're strangers with not great intent invading their secret space. Y'all, this does not feel good as a seller. So I have coded into my operations manual. Um, 3 days before the home inspection, a text message goes to my operations manager, which is my husband. Thank you, husband. And it
Way to go,
reminds him,
Stan.
yeah, Stan, it reminds him to pick up an orchid from Trader Joe's, $14 orchid. Yeah, it's just a little thing. You do you. It could be anything. It really doesn't matter. The idea is that you're bringing a gift. So we would bring the gift, and then a text message also went out to the agent representing the buyer to write a thank you note to the seller. Handwritten, that's key, a handwritten thank you note to the seller. And the text of it, which was right in my text message to so the agent wouldn't remember, wouldn't forget, is thank you so much for allowing us to come to your home today. We really appreciate it and we wish you well. And so they leave the orchid and the note for the seller so that it was greeting the seller when they come home from the home inspection. Doesn't work if it's a vacant house, but if it's an occupied
Right.
house, right? Really, really nice emotional touch.
Yeah. Wow.
And it helps the seller to go from, I hate you for going into my house and putting a microscope to, wow, that was really thoughtful. Thank you. Yeah. From
I love
DEFCON
that.
6 down to DEFCON 2. Yeah. So love that for buyers. Here's one of my little touches for when you represent the seller. The first big stress point, the first big milestone for the seller isn't home inspection. The first big milestone for the seller is picture day. Okay. Because think about it. Up until picture day, it has all been on the seller's shoulders, right? To to get everything fixed up, to get it clean, to get it staged, to get it tidied, to get it like all of that stuff. That is a lot of hard work, also a lot of emotion, right?
Right.
Picture day is the day when the seller takes the baton and hands it to the listing agent and says, all yours, babe, do what you want with it. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
It's your responsibility now. I did my thing. Now it's your responsibility. We have coded into our operations manager. Again, there's a few steps to it, but the first step is we got to order the stuff. Yeah. So text message goes to Simone because this is stuff that is ordered online. So text message goes, Simone, order the picture day kit, which for us was 2 mugs, two shortbread cookies, chamomile tea,
Hey.
right? Chamomile tea, right? And it also goes into a little box that also says we got your back because I like it's like a restaurant, have the ingredients used in many different ways. Yeah. So that would go into the picture day box. And so when we would go to meet the photographer, we would leave that little thing on there and the handwritten note. Again, really big deal on handwritten notes. Love them. It'd be like, you have done incredible work. The pictures have now been taken. You can sit back and relax. We've got it from here.
Very good. The things that make that wow, so many times agents are just going from from transaction to transaction. They want that check at the end of the day, and they just don't think about these little things. And something that you talked about early on in our, knowing each other, you were talking about thinking about the things that they ask you. If they ask you for it,
Yeah.
you're late. You should have
Yeah.
thought about that, or for the next person, make sure that you cover it beforehand. So this is the same thing. You're covering them. You're telling them that you've got their back, but you're sharing something with them, easing their mind
Well,
at the
more
same
than anything
time.
else, I'm demonstrating that I understand how they feel.
Mhm.
Prediction equals trust. Yeah. And I'll share one little other anecdote where that, what you just said, where that came from. When I was a baby agent, I remember I would observe the agents around me, their phones were always ringing. And they were always complaining about how their clients call them, at all hours of the night and blah, 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 blah. And I used to think, what's wrong with me? My phone doesn't ring. I, Nobody calls me at night. I I must not have enough business. I mean, I'm just a horrible failed real estate agent until I realized why their phones were ringing. Their phones were ringing because their people were freaked out. Their people were freaked out because the agent hadn't told them in advance that X, Y, and Z were going to happen, and that here's what we're gonna do if X happens, and here's what we're gonna do when Y happens. I did that naturally because I'm very fearful of being criticized, and I'm very, very fearful of dropping the ball. Like, my life is is oriented around the idea that left to my own devices, without my tools and without my craziness, um, all the balls would fall through the cracks. Everybody would hate me, and there's nothing that I want more in life than for people who like me. Yeah, like I'm slavishly addicted to being liked. So that's
I
where it
like,
came from.
yeah, I liken that to and it's an old thing. Again, I think this came from Joe Stump, or some of the other coaches out there. Is they call it the rough seas letter or the turbulence letter,
All
where
of them.
it's a list of 100 things that's going to go wrong during the transaction.
Mm,
Here's all the
mm,
different things that could go wrong.
that's just sorry. I not to criticize the person who maybe come up with that, but that's just an ego play, in
I
my
know, I
opinion.
know, I don't disagree with that, but the fact is, there are systems for each one of those. If something happens, I've got your back. And I don't
Yeah,
disagree with you on that.
yeah.
But
I don't believe in unnecessarily freaking out the client in as a way of saying, you need me, I'm so amazing, because all these bad things will happen if I'm not there. I'm more about, and again, workflow secrets is the perfect tool to allow you to handle this. I'm more about handling things when they need to be handled, just before they need
just
to be handled. Yeah.
just in time.
Yeah. I'm way more in that. In Joe Stump's day, I remember that guy from a million years ago. We didn't have those tools, right? And I handled it with a lot of adrenaline, and reams of checklists. I had binders of checklists. It was thick, but I'm not normal. But yes, that is, and if you do this well, then not only will you have a calmer lifestyle, your clients will have a calmer lifestyle. They're more likely to refer you, to, which is what I want more than the close of escrow. I want the referral. I want
Absolutely.
the recommendation. That's
And
really what I want.
if you've given them that wow, that that tips them over into that. I mean, that's what you really need each and every time.